Hello everyone, and welcome to Cryptid's Combo Corner. Today we're going to be talking about Ooze Gifts Combo. The first half of the combo involves these three cards right here: Necrotic Ooze, Asmodeus, and Skirge Familiar. Necrotic Ooze has all activated abilities of all creature cards in all graveyards. That means that if the Ooze is on the battlefield and Asmodeus is in your graveyard, we can pay 3 black mana to draw 7 cards. Then, Skirge Familiar allows us to discard a card to add a black mana. That means that instead of paying 3 actual mana for the Asmodeus draw 7, we can just discard 3 cards. A free discard 4 to draw 7 means that we can draw our entire deck. At some point in our deck, we're going to draw our 1 copy of Borborygmos Enraged. Borborygmos also has an activated ability. It allows us to discard a land card to deal 3 damage to any target. So, once we have that in hand, we can discard it, and then use the Ooze to discard all the lands that we've drawn to deal 21 damage to our opponent and win the game. Now this combo is bad. If we wanted to run it alone, we would have to put a bunch of bad cards into our deck. Fortunately for us, that's where the gifts come into play. Gifts Ungiven is a card that searches our library for 4 cards. The opponent chooses 2 of them, puts those 2 into the graveyard, and puts 2 of them into our hand. Now, if our opponent were a team sport, they would put the Skirge Familiar and the Asmodeus into the graveyard and put the Necrotic Ooze into our hand. However, our opponent probably does not want us to combo off and win the game, so they're probably going to put the Necrotic Ooze into the graveyard. That brings us to the 4th card we're going to search up, Priest of Fell Rites. Priest of Fell Rites can sacrifice itself to bring back a creature card from our graveyard. In the case of this combo, it's going to bring back Necrotic Ooze. Now, Priest of Fell Rites is special because it has Unearth. If it is also in the graveyard, we can pay 5 mana to bring it back so that it can sacrifice itself to bring the Necrotic Ooze back onto the battlefield. That means that if we have all 4 of these cards in our graveyard, then we can bring the Priest of Fell Rites back to bring the Ooze back, and now we have the Ooze on the battlefield and the other 2 cards in the graveyard. That means that the Ooze can discard 3 cards to draw 7 cards, to discard 3 to draw 7, and so on and so forth, until we win the game. Unfortunately, Gifts Ungiven does not put all 4 of the cards into the graveyard. It only puts 2 of them into the graveyard. So a smart opponent will give us the Skirge Familiar and the Asmodeus into our hand, so that even if we bring back the Necrotic Ooze, it doesn't have the abilities that we need in order to win the game. Fortunately for us, Skirge Familiar discards cards. So if our opponent puts these 2 into our hand, then we can just take a turn off to play the Familiar, discard the Asmodeus, and combo the turn after that. So it's a bit slow in terms of combos, but it is a 1-card combo that only takes up 9 slots in your deck, so you can play it with 27 of your other favorite cards that can make it so your opponent isn't killing you while you assemble the rest of the combo pieces. Now, I know that was probably a little convoluted, so how about I just show you how it works. For demonstration purposes and for the league that I went in, I just decided to take the current best deck in Penny Dreadful and put the combo into it. The current best deck being Yorion, Orzhov, Blink. So now we have 4 mana. We're going to cast our Gifts Ungiven and go search up the combo pieces. We get the Asmodeus. We get the Necrotic Ooze. We get Skirge Familiar. And we get the Priest of Fell Rites. So now our opponent is smart. They're going to put the Priest of Fell Rites and the Necrotic Ooze into the graveyard. So we're going to hope that they don't kill us this turn. We play the Skirge Familiar. And discard the Asmodeus in case they have counter or some removal for our Skirge Familiar. And now we can begin. We can bring the Priest of Fell Rites back. I'm going to discard a card for reasons that will become apparent soon. Okay, cool. So now we can use Skirge Familiar to discard 3 cards. And because we have a Necrotic Ooze on the battlefield and Asmodeus the Archfiend in our graveyard, we can use those 3 cards that we discarded to draw 7. And then we're going to do it again. And we got a little lucky here because the Borborygmos was, in the top 30 cards of our deck. So we're going to discard the Borborygmos. And that gives the Necrotic Ooze the activated ability to throw lands at our opponent. And if we don't have enough lands in hand at the time, no problem. We can always just discard 3 more cards to draw 7 more cards. And there will, as long as there are enough lands in our deck, we should be good. And there you have it. That's Ooze Gifts combo. What decks do you want to put it in? Leave a comment down below, or if you want a different combo explained, I'd be happy to make a video.